Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show of podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jenn Dave and David Dollar.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Dave.
It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast. Welcome back to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. Once again, we're going to be talking travel because we have traveled, we have experiences, we have things to talk about. It's great. It's awesome. We'll talk about some Disney stuff coming up because we got the Halloween party. More details on that. Of course, The Princess and the Log, aka Tiana's Bayou Adventure. News on that, and then when it's going to open and such, that's coming out. And then later on, we'll get to sandals and Crocs and all the other footwear that we love so much. You know, sandals and beaches.
I don't know what he's talking about.
We'll talk about sandals. Of course, both of us were at Sandals Negril in Jamaica. We'll talk all about that and the kind of the Sandals experience. And this is not an ad for Sandals. We would love for you to book Sandals. So we'll give you the honest, most of it we love. There's a few little things I'm like, I would love this to change, but we'll get there. But first, Jen, how did you do Disney this week?
Oh, gosh. I actually did need this morning because my dining window opened. For my trip in June. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Very nice. I haven't done dining in just a little while. I got a couple of dinings coming up for I think a late June trip and then July or whatever. So dining is coming. Of course, I Disneyed by actually being at Disney for about 9 hours on Friday night. The plan was, and this is really the back end of the whole trip experience. The plan was to fly in. I flew into Orlando, stayed the night, and I was going to be flying out on Saturday because flights just worked out better for me to do that. And originally I was going to stay at the airport, and then I was going to stay on property. And then I'm like, you know what? I'll just stay at Disney World, get a good rate at All-Star Movies. Jen, that's a hotel at Disney World. Get a good rate at All-Star Movies. Don't know what that is. And, then I'll hopefully my flight's in at 6. I'm carrying my luggage on. Hopefully I'll get out the door. Maybe I can be a property like maybe 7:30. Maybe I could be in Epcot by 8 o'clock for a full hour. That's just go. Because it's just me, right? I'm zipping through whatever. I zip through customs and I zip off that plane and I zip through the airport. And I'm getting there. And Uber is what gets me because I waited probably 25 minutes to get a ride because traffic was so bad around the airport. And it was like everybody was ordering their Ubers and Ubers were coming in, but these were Ubers that were ordered like 10 and 15 minutes ago. You couldn't get there.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get the property till 8:15. I think I got to Epcot around 8:30 because I actually Ubered over to Epcot real quick. Got an 8:30.
Yeah.
Had my wonderful mother-in-law's jersey that she bought in March. Had to return it for her because my lovely wife Stephanie told her beautiful mother, "Hey, Mom, that's going to be a little bit too big for you." Well, I always wear this size. I know, but these Spirit jerseys run big. You need to go a smaller size. It'll be fine. I get home. It's too big.
It's not working.
Can you have, your camera's not working? Or
no, my camera's working. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm a mess today. I'm a mess. It's fine. Keep talking. I'm going off camera for a second. It's fine.
Okay. That's all right. So my mother-in-law finally was like, well, have David return the shirt. So I've got 30 minutes in Epcot. Enough time to return the shirt. Holly over in Epcot, the little shop there as you're walking from what used to be called Future World to World Showcase. They're on the right side where they have like the food and wine and garden festival stuff, all that stuff there. Holly, the cast member, was wonderful. She called Laura over as a manager. They did the swap out for the sizes. It was great. Got to Canada, got me some snacks, zipped over to Magic Kingdom, had an hour and a half there. Did People Mover. It was great. That's all I did was People Mover. Walked around, took some pictures, just enjoyed it. Back in the room at midnight, up at 5, out the door at 6. So yeah, Disney World for about 8 hours, maybe 9, 10 hours, something like that, total front to back.
So funny. Oh my gosh.
That's how I Disney this week. That's me. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit of Disney news. Before we get to the big news about Tiana, let's talk a little Halloween party. They released the prices for the Halloween party, which is really, really good. The prices basically are standard. I'm going to go to the glasses here for this. The prices basically started at $129 in September, in August, September, whatever. They go all the way up to, for Halloween, of course, $199. So they obviously increase in price as you go. $199 for Halloween for the 29th, 27th, 25th. So those last 4 nights is going to be $199 plus tax. So you're probably looking at about $206, $208, something like that.
Yeah, maybe $215, something like that.
Something like that. Now, people ask me all the time, is it worth it? Is it worth the money?
No.
And it's one of those experiences, what I tell people, if you're willing to pay for it, if you're okay paying the money, it's worth it. I don't think you'd pay that and go, this is a waste of my money. I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to tell you to mortgage your house. I'm not going to tell you to dip into your kid's college savings fund. I'm going to tell you, if you've got the money, you're like, you know what? Let's experience. Let's do it. I encourage you to do it.
Yes.
Jenn, what would you say to people who are worried about everything selling out like right now?
I mean, honestly, in my experience, it does not sell out day one or even week one. You know, the one that typically sells out first is, Halloween itself or the day before, like the 30th, 31st. If you're planning those days, you should go ahead and get them, like get them sooner rather than later. If you're worried about like a random Thursday in September, not that it can't sell out, it's going to be closer to when we typically see that sell out. So, because they're non-refundable, make sure you want to go, like, make sure you can go.
Good
like,
point.
If you're like, well, I don't know if mama is going to go, well, then buy the tickets for the people who,
right.
are gonna go.
Right.
Maybe hold off on mama's ticket until you're positive that she's going to go. So, but it's not a panic thing. Like, it goes on sale. People are like, oh my gosh, this is not like high demand dining reservations or getting a Slinky Dog Lightning Lane,
Right. So I agree. And they do sell more of these tickets than they do the after hours events.
They
These
do
are a little bit bigger than that. And even the after hours events don't sell out immediately. So
No.
you have a little time. Watch it, obviously. Wouldn't, like you said, wouldn't wait too long. If you're deciding to go on September 14th, whatever, I wouldn't wait till September 12th because it's going to be sold out by then. And typically these parties do completely sell out at some point in time later on, summer and fall. But but you're right. I would encourage you. They are non-refundable. It's a great point. So make sure you do want to go, because every now and again, you can get them to transfer to a different event. I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't guarantee that. And getting your money back is extremely hard, especially if you have a large party of tickets. So make sure you want to go and then get your tickets. And we're happy to get your tickets for you, especially as part of your package we booked for you.
Exactly.
The Magic Kingdom. Speaking of Magic Kingdom and Frontierland, of course, going down the Bayou to Tiana's Bayou Adventure Splash Mountain RIP. For those people out there with the petitions that want Splash Mountain to come back, I've got some news for you. Splash Mountain is definitely not coming back at this point. I know maybe a year or two ago.
Was there a question?
I still see petitions. People are like, sign this petition, please bring Splash Mountain back. And as I told somebody actually this morning about petitions, not somebody with a petition, I don't want to be rude to them, but we were joking about petitions. Right. And I was like, there is a better chance at this point of Alien Encounter coming to Magic Kingdom again than Splash Mountain coming back.
Accurate.
Because at least Alien Encounter has that empty building they could use again for some reason. Splash Mountain's not coming back. So we are at Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is the same ride layout, but all new theming, all new rides.
All new theming.
Awesome. I'm excited about it. The pass holder preview dates have been released. Now, well, first of all, Jenn, the official opening date has been released. And what date is that?
June 28th.
Very good. Yes, June 28th.
Oh, I just had a moment because I actually have an appointment June 28th. And so I was like, wait, am I thinking of my appointment or is that Tiana's? No, that is actually Tiana's and my appointment.
Yes. Well, I didn't want to put you on the spot because you're going down a little bit early for different previews, which is awesome. And of course, they released today the previews for pass holders. Now, pass holder previews are going to be Thursday and Friday, the 13th to 14th. You're going to have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the 16th, 17th, and 18th, and Thursday, the 20th. Those are pass holder preview days. Now, these are days that you do the day up. They're like, it's going to be virtual queue and Lightning Lane. Jenn, that's what we know about how to access Tiana's virtual queue and Lightning Lane, correct?
Correct. Virtual queue and Lightning Lane. Also, DVC is going to get a preview as well.
Yes, DVC is going to get a preview as well. And the DVC preview information is a little bit different. Let me run through that.
It's a little different. Quick. Yeah. And I actually don't remember offhand what those dates are. Or
I have that actually. Okay. Thank you to Brooke McDonald, who is a Disney influencer and a wealth of information. The previews for Tiana's Bayou Adventure for DVC will be held on June 12th. From 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern, and the 19th from 9 to 12 Eastern. Registration opens to DVC members with a Disney Resort reservation. You and your number of guests on the reservation for May 12th, 2024 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Registration opens Thursday, May 16th at 10 a.m. Eastern. Qualifying Disney Resort reservations must have been booked using your DVC membership. So if you've got 5 people in your room, you and those 4 people get to go. Correct. You can't add on extra people, and you have to register at this certain point in time. But when it opens on the 28th, as we suspect, it will be a virtual queue.
It
There will
will.
not be a standby line. It will be virtual queue, and you have to do it 7 a.m. or 1 p.m. Also, individual lightning lanes you can purchase as well, like
Yes.
you can on or Seven Doors Mine Train. And from what I understand, they don't expect the virtual queue to last a long, long, long time. As in, like they don't know. We don't know if we're not sure if
Right.
it's gonna be there a long time. We're all up in the air about what's gonna happen with everything else, but we'll see about that.
Yeah. I mean, they have announced though, it's going to be virtual queue
Yep.
and Genie Plus Lightning Lane. So like they didn't even say
Yes.
individual Lightning Lane. They said,
Oh, okay. Good. Good. I
did
would
they
say
not
individual
say,
lightning lanes.
correct me if I'm wrong. I read it as you have to have Genie Plus service and it is a Lightning Lane through Genie Plus,
You know what? Let's
not
find this
individual
out.
Lightning Lane.
We're gonna learn together. You know what? Let's go to the page. Let's go find out here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Here, I'll pull it back up too because I was
Mhm.
in that earlier and I was so ready for it to say individual Lightning Lane and virtual queue. And then we saw the virtual queue and then it's like, oh, it's just gonna, but if you think about it, like, yes, it's going to be in demand because it's a new ride. It's a new
Right.
theming for the ride, but it's
Okay.
not a new altogether ride. It is the same ride track with new
Yes.
theming,
Correct.
which is why I think they're anticipating being able to, drop the virtual queue sooner rather than later.
Right. Let's see. A virtual queue will be in place for annual pass holder previews of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So we're seeing that. Let's see. You know what? I probably need more
Or
information
purchase
here.
Genie Plus service. So yeah, so I'm on our
Oh,
like the
there you go.
official
Okay.
release. Yep. Or purchase
Yep.
Disney Genie Plus service, and it will be included as a Lightning Lane entrance
Oh,
in Disney Genie
perfect.
Plus. So this is
Perfect.
not, like this is through Lightning Lane. Like you're getting
Mhm.
Pirates, like you're getting Haunted Mansion, like you're getting these other ones. So yeah,
Right.
that said, it's going to be big available. Like it's going to be like
Yes.
Slinky
Yeah.
Dog. Like
Well,
you just
this
grab
is good
whatever
though.
time you can get.
And I'm glad you said that too, because hey, we're breaking the news here. It's like the news is already broken, but we're
Yeah.
really breaking it here too. No, that's really good because Tiana's and like Splash Mountain had an extremely large queue. It's a
Yes.
long queue to open up. So I think they've got the space and the capacity to open that up, where something like Seven Doors Mine Train does not, because that's routinely seeing people all the way down the sidewalk, all the way down into a different land because it's so long. Tron, of course, they've got the switchbacks and stuff, which are in the blazing hot sun,
Right.
which thankfully doesn't get hotter than 70 or so in the summertime at
Oh
Florida.
yeah. Uh-huh.
On the concrete. Thank you, Imagineers. We love you, but come on, guys. Have you ever been to Florida? But no, I think it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it. More news will be coming, I'm sure. So we'll get to all that. But now let's talk about what we did last week. Jen, where were we last week?
Last week we were in Jamaica, man. We were in
Jamaica, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
And
man.
saying yaman is kind of a stereotypical like phrase. I mean, do you really talk to Jamaicans and go man? You do, because I had so many people go
Yeah.
man. Like it was like a greeting. Like,
It's
hey,
just,
no, come on.
well, it's almost
just
like what, different country, but when I was in Costa Rica,
right.
like people would be like, Pura vida. You're like, oh, they're like, legitimately, that's culturally something they say.
Right.
So
Right.
it's cool.
Very cool.
Very
so
cool.
yeah, we went to Sandals Negril. Now over in Jamaica, there are a number of sandals in Jamaica, including Negril,
Sandals and
Montego Bay.
beaches.
Yeah, Sandals and Beaches. And let's see, Sandals Montego Bay,
Yep.
Royal Caribbean, Dunn's River, Ochi, Royal Plantation, and South Coast. So that's 7 locations of Sandals, and Beaches has 2 locations.
2.
Is that correct?
Negril
2.
and Ochi.
Negril and Ochi. Okay, so obviously we did not see a lot of those on the other side of the island. So for me, and this is me being just a silly American, I didn't realize Jamaica was quite as large as it is. It's a large island. It's
a big
looking on a
island.
map, it seems, because Cuba seems really long and everything, but I'm like, oh, Jamaica's, it's like legitimately 4 hours to drive from one side of the island to the other. It's basically like the length of Alabama, which is a fairly large state when looking at size. So there's a lot of them on the north coast: Montego, Royal, Dunn's, Ochi, and Royal Plantation. We looked at the ones kind of on the south part of the island, Negril, which is kind of southeastern part, and South Coast, which is, of course, the south part of the island.
And Negril being the world famous 7 Mile Beach, which is just, I
Yes.
mean, literally a world famous beach. When you are going to Negril, you are going specifically because you love the beach. It is amazing.
It was beautiful and it was great. So let's talk a little bit about it. First of all, Jen,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about arriving in Jamaica, the airport process for people going to Jamaica. I mean, we don't have to go into full detail and everything, but just how was your experience in the airport and getting to Negril?
Well, I mean, honestly, I flew in on a Tuesday, which helped because the line for customs and immigration was not crazy long.
Right.
But I will say, was much improved from the last time I was there, because they had the machines where you just step up and like it reads your face and then it lets you right through.
Yep.
Now, a couple things people do need to know. There is paperwork to fill out before you get to Jamaica. And it does ask you, they like you have to make sure you have your form filled out, and it attaches to your passport, right? And so they can see that you filled out your C5 immigration form.
Yes.
It's what it is. C5.
Visit Jamaica.com is where you go for that. You just pull that up, the information.
Yeah,
it's all there. Fill those forms out online and print it out, because people were asking me for print when I got to my Birmingham airport. They were asking me for that printout. They wanted to see it, so print it out.
Yes, printing out. I mean, yes, I understand if you take a screenshot or whatever, it's fine. Yes. But they do recommend having it printed out, because if your phone dies, you can't pull it up. Right. It's just a whole thing. So just have it printed out. It's much better that way. But I would say you can get an expedited service, Club Mobay, which will expedite you through customs and immigration. It is a lovely, especially if you're arriving on a weekend, very, very lovely option. But that said, once you're through, there is a Sandals lounge. Now there is the Club Mobay lounge, right? Okay. So you can, if you're staying at Sandals, you can go to either one. If you have Club Mobay, meaning if you buy Club Mobay, if you didn't buy Club Mobay, which I did not for the entry, I just got right through. Then you can go have some snacks, have some beverages at the Sandals lounge, and they are going to tag your luggage, and they are going to escort you to your transfer, which is going to take you to whichever part of the island that you are going to. And, shared, unless you pay for private, you're going to be with other people. So
and I agree with that. I think that I did not do Club Mobay going into it as well for arrivals, because they do have the Sandals lounge. You walk in, and the lounge is not. I mean, I had some water. There were a few bags of chips and some snacks and things like that, but it was a comfortable place to sit. I was able to kind of sit in a little comfortable chair, pull my phone out, do some emails and stuff there at the table. They had Wi-Fi. I'm not saying that's unsafe, but you don't want to be just sitting around Jamaica Airport. There's nothing to do. You're just there.
There's really nothing to do. Yeah.
And I especially experienced that on Friday, and we'll get to that at the end of this conversation.
At the end.
But you're right. Like for a first timer like me, you had been there before. I had not. So I always go with trepidation, not really anxiety, because I kind of know what I'm doing, but at the same time, you have to see it. I mean, like, I have to see where everything is. I missed, for some strange reason, I missed the big sign that said Sandals, where you walk that. It looked like a sign on the wall, but I didn't see that there were doors there. And I just thought it was like a big advertisement for Sandals. So I went to the wrong line, and the wonderful lady helping me was just like, "Did you not see the sign?" I'm like, I didn't see. And she points, she goes, "There's the sign." And I'm like, I'm sorry, I missed the sign and whatever. And I said, "Yeah, I said, first time here." I said, "I'm a little confused." She goes, "Just follow the signs." And so, of course, I start to walk the wrong way. And she goes, No.
Yeah.
Over here. Follow the signs. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. I felt like grandma was getting on to me. I was like, yes, ma'am, I'm following the signs.
Yes, ma'am.
Transfer. It was about a little over an hour 15, something like that, hour 20.
It was
on the shuttle.
Yeah, I felt like mine was a little bit closer. We had hit some traffic though. Your flight got in a little bit later than ours.
Yes, my flight got in at like 3 or 4 o'clock.
We were more like a 90-minute transfer with traffic. So just be aware, Negril is not close to Montego Bay Airport.
It's not. Well, none of the Sandals really are. I mean, looking at the map.
Montego Bay is.
Montego Bay. Okay, yeah,
Montego Bay is.
But
Royal Caribbean's not too far.
But yeah, Negril's about an hour and a half away, and they stopped. They made one bathroom stop, so everybody got to use the restroom.
Yes, they do.
There was one guy that went to the bar there where we stopped. He got himself a beer and went back on the transfer, and it was great. The check-in process, and this is, I guess, kind of maybe an anomaly of an experience, but for me, it was a little chaotic for me, because it was a little like we all came in at once, and everybody's trying to get their stuff. They brought our luggage in. They showed us to the rooms. I went to the room. The guy showed me everything in the room. I'm not a drinker, so I don't need wine and beer in my fridge. And he actually opened the fridge. He showed me everything. He was like, you let me know. And he had a pencil and paper. What would you like? And I was like, maybe throw in a Coca-Cola, like one. He's like, honestly, water. Yeah. And some milk. I would love some milk because that helps with indigestion late at night if I have heartburn. But otherwise, just water. It's all I need. And so he just stocked it up with water, a couple of fruit juices, and a thing of milk, which was like one Coke, which was great. I was like, I don't need anything extra, whatever. But I had to wait for my luggage a long time to come, and I had to add a dinner because with our group we were going with a couple of different agencies under Sandals. To kind of as a fam trip, and I was waiting for pants. I was standing in my shorts and my polo waiting for my pants so I could go to this dinner. And I really think I probably could have showed up in shorts and been just
you could have. I mean, nobody would have been mad. Everybody would get it.
But especially because people love me. I'm just saying that. No, they really don't. But no, I had to wait for pants. So I finally got my luggage, and it was a little chaotic, more than I wanted, because I felt like I was waiting and just whatever. But nobody else had that problem. So maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Well, it was probably just the time of day. And it honestly, it wasn't as long as you think it was. It felt long to you, but
Right.
it all told it was not long.
Right.
You had it probably within 20 minutes.
Now,
Yeah,
as
we got
far as
ours
the room,
pretty
go ahead.
quickly. We got
As
ours
far as
pretty
the room
quickly.
go, as far as the room go, you and Cherie, gluten-free
Yes.
Cherie, are one of our wonderful, wonderful agents.
Yes.
Shared a room together. Tell me a little bit about the room you guys had.
Yeah, so we actually had what's more of a it's called the luxury category. It's an entry level room. So, and I will be honest, the luxury category has not been redone yet at Sandals Negril. Now, I think David had a redone room because he was in a different
Yes.
building. He's in one of the concierge rooms. So most beds at Sandals are going to be king beds because Sandals is designed for couples. So it is going to be mostly king beds. It's going to, but we still had our mini fridge. We still had all, some great amenities, the Red Lane spa products in the bathrooms, which smell divine. I actually wish I would have taken that lotion. I forgot to grab it and pack it in my bag because it smells so good. So yeah, the bathroom is nice and large and spacious. Now I'm interested for the redo. You also have to keep in mind, again, because it's for couples, there's the door into the toilet clearly, but there's not a lot of other doors. So just so we had to be a little bit careful with showering and things. But it was the great part about Sandals is the main differences are going to be in the rooms themselves. It's not going to be like you have all the same access to amenities on property, all the pools, all of the restaurants. It is, and I will say in terms of all-inclusive food, Sandals has great food.
Very good food.
They
It was
have
extremely
really,
good.
really good food.
Well, so my room was a little bit different. It was, and you said it was one of the redone rooms. It was really nice. King bed. It was, I don't want to say basic because that makes it sound like it was an average room. It wasn't. It was a nice room, but it wasn't just chock full of it was everything I needed. It was a king bed, bathroom with a door, which was great, comfortable shower, had the mini fridge, had the internet. The internet worked great. It was wonderful.
Internet was really fabulous.
Which really, really was surprising for me. I don't know why it was surprising. I don't know the Wi-Fi capabilities of Jamaica, but it worked really well at Sandals. And so, but mine was a little unusual, as was Eric, who was one of our agents as well. We had rooms by ourselves, and that's not something Sandals normally do. They don't just rent rooms one person.
Not typically.
Only.
Not
typically
they
do two people. And so I got to share the room. I had the room by myself, which was great. Very easy location. Probably the first couple of hours, I was a little lost here and there. I think when I went back to my room after dinner, I kind of made one big circle looking for where my room was because the way it was laid out. And I had one of probably maybe 8 or 9 garden view rooms. Everything else was ocean facing. Everything else faces the ocean. And so, the room was fantastic. I think I called over for something like one time I needed something. They brought it to me almost immediately, which was great. So I really enjoyed the property itself. The grill is not. It seems like a big property, but once you've been there for like a day, it doesn't seem that
it's
big.
really not. Yeah. It's just long.
Yes. It's very long.
long.
Yep. Because they want most of the rooms to be facing the ocean.
Because Negril is such that world famous beach. Like when people are going there, they want to dine al fresco on the beach. They want to be on the beach because it's that soft white sand.
Right.
It's really pretty,
So, food-wise, you're right. Food-wise, it was fantastic. The food was really, really good. There were several restaurants there. There's 5 or 6 different restaurants you can go to. Some of them do require reservations. Some of them don't. Some of them you can just walk up. Barefooted by the sea. You just walk up, and it's right there on the beach, which was nice. I think we had dinner there once. We had breakfast once. I had breakfast there twice, actually. Breakfast was great. We had Bayside, which every time I think Bayside, I think Saved by the Bell.
I know, right?
Tigers. But they had Bayside there, which is kind of your overall market. They have breakfast. They have dinner,
buffets,
they have theme nights for dinner, buffets, things like that. They had Brava, which is
tapas.
Tapas. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Is tapas. Bravo's was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and I say that only because I'm not a huge Mexican kind of fan.
But it's not Mexican.
Sorry, tapas. I don't know a whole lot of tapas. I don't eat a whole lot of tapas.
It's Spanish.
Tapas
is Spanish.
Spanish is so, that's the word.
Yeah.
Think all people would know that, but you'd think I would know that. But the food was phenomenal. And so tell us a little bit about Bravo. What was the Bravo experience for the people who don't know?
Yeah. So Bravia was on the beach. Again, it's, open air dining. And it is tapas. So if you were familiar with that, it's small plates, which, usually a small plate it'll be a plate of literally one thing. It's not like you're getting an entree and sides and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But it'll be like your main course, your salad course, your entree course, but everything is served and is meant, to serve 2 to 3 people. And you just have small bites. So you're sort of grazing with a variety. And now it was an anomaly because we were with, again, kind of
Right.
a little sales thing. We were a larger group of 10. So we had, we basically ordered everything on the menu. And we would just be like, okay, we want 5 of this. We want 5 of this. And they were like so amazing and accommodating. And that pan con tomate was with the manchego cheese on top. Oh my God.
Toasted bread with fresh tomato, manchego cheese. And we had some with smoked
We had
mackerel.
it with mackerel.
Okay,
yeah.
but the cheese
The one with the cheese was so good.
My favorite was the croquet. The
potato.
The chicken and bechamel fritter. Of course, our good friend Melissa, the chef, is hearing me say this going, that's not how it's pronounced. That and the calamari was
the calamari was really good.
It was excellent because there's some of the stuff, I'm not a spice fan, so some of the stuff I didn't eat, but all the calamari,
the shrimp was really good. That one was spicy.
The shrimp was good. It was spicy. I had one of those.
The shrimp was spicy.
More than I want. They had flank steak they brought out. They just had one thing after the other they brought out. I think the cauliflower they were out of, which is fine. Man, I don't eat cauliflower.
Yeah, we were all like, the spinach was actually surprisingly, everyone.
Yes.
That was the one thing everyone's like, just get like 2. Like, we just want to try it. And meanwhile, everyone's like, oh, this is so good.
I mean, it just, and they had the chicken leg with papaya sauce. They had the marinated pork tenderloin and the grilled flank steak, red pepper confit, and green olive chimichurri. It was an excellent meal. It was excellent. And it was one of those.
And they're like full when you're done. Like you think like, how?
I didn't realize how full I would be until after because you just kept eating little bits. You're like, oh, it's one more bite of this, one more small bite of that. And suddenly you're like, I just ate 7 pounds of food and I'm so full.
Yeah, that's the danger with top.
They also had Kimonos, which is a Japanese restaurant, Japanese fare, and they had another restaurant which was Caribbean, and I can't think of the name of the restaurant, but there are several restaurants on property to eat from. As far as excursions go, lots of things to do. They have a whole scuba diving area, which again, for me, I'm not a scuba person. One thing that I found fascinating was if you are certified, your scuba is free.
Which is a huge savings.
Which is huge. If you're not certified, you can finish your certification there. And that's going to cost you. Does cost extra, but you can finish it there. Or if you are wanting to start your certification, you can start it there.
You can do it there.
That certificate anywhere else that's like scuba certified.
It is PADI certified, which is like that's the whole thing. It's like it's PADI certified.
And they have a pool there to help you with scuba and everything.
Yep.
They have something called Nuba, I believe, which is sort of like scuba. It's kind of somewhere in the middle.
It's
Snuba,
like
that's what it was.
Snuba. Yeah. So it's snorkeling and scuba. And it's, you know what? I don't know that they are the first place that I ever heard about talking about it. So I don't know that they invented it, but like I only heard about Snuba from Sandals. And then now you can find it other places. But it's so cool because you put on the dive mask essentially, and you've got the respirator. So you can go down deeper than like a snorkel situation, but you're not worried about like the bends, which you get coming back up and everything. So it's like a hybrid. Sort of situation.
And a lot of all inclusives I've been to, I say a lot, I've only been to a couple, but the ones that I've been to, kind of the general rules if you have a motor on it, you have to pay for it. Like they take you out, deep sea fishing, or they take you out to go snorkeling, whatever. You pay a little extra for it. Here, just about all that was included. Like there was one that me and another person got on the little raft here, a little raft chair where the boat kind of sped around and drove you around. They have that. They have the glass bottom boats. They have the sailing. They have all kinds of fun.
They have the Hobie cats in a lot of locations.
Exactly. And it was just fantastic. And there's so much to do there when it comes to that stuff. Also, one thing I just loved the fact is that the tipping isn't gratuities included. There's no tipping there. They don't ask for it. They shouldn't ask for it. You don't. I mean, I guess you could offer it up if you wanted to, but they're not asking for anything.
Yeah, the only permitted tips are spa services, which I did take advantage of a spa service. So yes, I tipped my spa attendant.
Now that would be extra. Your spa service is extra. So.
Correct. Yeah, spa services are not included. Very, very good point. And then butler service, which we haven't talked about butler service, but Sandals does offer a literally white glove, like guild of butlers in the UK, trained butlers. Like you can tip your butler.
Right. Now, something I have not experienced is the butler service. Jen, can you talk a little bit about
I
the butler service?
can
I think you know more
actually.
about it. So, yeah, what is the butler service? How do you can you get it at all Sandals? What does it
Yes.
include?
So absolutely. So every single Sandals has butler service. There is one Sandals. Oh my gosh, it's over by Ochi, not Royal Caribbean.
Royal Plantation
Thank you,
or
Royal
Dunn's River?
Plantation.
Okay,
Nope,
Royal
Royal
Plantation.
Plantation.
Yep.
That was the one I was like Royal. Yeah.
Hmm.
They are all butler service.
Okay.
So which is great. But the butlers will do things such as reserve your pool chair or your beach chair. Because I mean,
Right.
now there was always plenty of seating, but it can come at a premium,
Hmm.
depending on time of day. They will reserve that for you. They will make your dining reservations at locations where it's required. If you want room service, like 24 hours and you want like private dining in your room,
Right.
they will set that up.
Hmm.
Would you like them to unpack your suitcase? They will. Do you want them to iron your garments? They will. Do you want them to pack your suitcase? They also will.
Hmm.
They will do all of those things. It is like you have, and usually it's like two people. I mean, they got to sleep
Right.
at some point, right?
Right.
But it is 24-hour butler service. It's amazing. Where I had it was in St. Lucia. And in St. Lucia, I stayed at La Toc, which is I know we're focusing on Jamaica, but the
Right.
point is
Right.
it's up on the cliffs, the Butler Villas. If
Hmm.
I needed to get down for a dining reservation, I called my butler and he would bring me a golf cart to take me down. So I'm not like walking
Yes.
in wedge sandals, like, like down this big like cliff, to get to dining.
Right.
So it is a really neat. I would say, like I said, luxury category, that's your lead-in category. And once you're outside of your room, you know what? You're treated just like everybody else.
Hmm.
Um, the concierge club sandals category is a really nice middle of the road because you have more options for room service. You have like some nicer things inside of the room, a
Hmm.
little bit more space. And then if you really want that premium service, you step up to the butler and it
Right.
is
Right.
chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. Well, and to circle back to the tipping too is
Yeah.
the fact that everybody was so friendly there, and you
So
could tell they
nice.
weren't asking for tips. They weren't, we were all sitting
Right.
there in the lobby bar, and somebody walked over and like, let me refill your glass for you. Let me get you something to drink right now.
Oh
And
my
we were
gosh,
just sitting
right.
there talking. We're like, oh, okay, sure.
Literally walked over
Yeah,
and like looked at Eric and says, I have a special drink I want to make you. He's like, okay. And then like, but
right.
like, he's like, I see you have empty glass. Let me refill that. Like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it
Thanks.
wasn't like, I'm going to treat you extra nice so you can give me a tip.
No,
It was this is
no.
my job. And that happened several times to me during
Mhm.
the trip. It's just certain things, people were coming
Yeah.
up asking things, how everybody was as they were passing by, whether it's maintenance or whether it was somebody that you could tell was
Hmm.
kind of higher up. How you doing this morning? Yeah, man, hi. Just very
Yeah.
friendly, so super friendly. It was so great.
So
Like
nice.
I felt easy asking anybody for any, like, show me
Mhm.
where this is or where can I find that. Everybody would have known,
Mhm.
which was great. And another point you made too, the fact that, and I experienced this on to make the little connection here on Perfect Day at Coco Cay with the Royal
Oh,
Caribbean.
okay. Yeah.
There's a part of the beach you can't go to because you didn't pay for it. You didn't pay for that
Correct.
cabana. So I'm walking the beach and I have to walk around, like basically up the
Yeah.
beach to the second part around to get around that part because I'm
Hmm.
like, I can't go there. And while yes, they deserve that, they paid for it. I'm sure they
Absolutely.
paid
I got
extra
no
for that
problem with
cabana.
that.
That's awesome, no problem. It's like, okay, I'm not good enough to be here, so I got to go over there.
Yeah.
And Sandals doesn't really do that.
Doesn't
It's
do that.
like, you get the experiences of doing whatever. All the amenities, like you said, are in your room. Your rooms are just nicer. You get more service in the room. You get bigger rooms. And
Right.
between Sandals Negril, between Sandals South Coast, and even Beaches, we saw some pretty incredible rooms,
Oh
some
my
pretty
gosh. We
incredible
saw some of
places
the
to stay.
top categories.
Top categories. There was a three-story condo, that three-story
Mm.
villa that slept up to 10. They had a
Oh my
top
gosh. That's
story with like a
amazing.
king bed at the very top, which led to an outdoor terrace
Hmm.
with a
I
pool
was at
and
beaches.
a
Yeah.
telescope. Beaches. The Rondeval was my favorite. It was over, I believe, the South
Love
Coast. It's almost like a
that.
round room.
Yes.
It was just so comfortable and so just
Beautiful. And
great.
it's a
And
little
you
private
know,
plunge
yes,
pool.
plunge pools. And of course we're talking higher up, and because these things are going to cost you some extra, I get that. But even the leading categories are great. I mean, they're
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 wonderful.
really comfortable. One of the things I thought, because I have clients going next year to the same place in Negril, and I kept
Oh,
looking at
yes,
it
to
kind of
beaches. Hmm.
from their perspective, and just kind of looking around, going, okay, what are they going to see? What are they going to do?
Yes.
And I saw the building they would be in. Obviously, I don't know the room, but I saw the building they'll be in, and I saw their view of the ocean view. They'll be
Yes.
second or third floor, and I'm like, this is great. Sent them pictures from what I'm like, this is your ocean view. This is what you're going to see next year. And of course, they were all excited
Oh,
about that.
yeah.
But one thing I have to ask there, Jen, is, on a place like Negril, which is, it's not a
Hmm.
large, it's long, but it's not large.
Right.
What is there to do for like 7 days? After 2 or 3 days, you're like, I've eaten everywhere I need to eat. I've done some
Right.
excursions at the beach. What else? What else is going to fill my time for a couple of days?
Well, yeah, I mean, and they keep in mind they always have activities throughout the day too. So like,
Yes.
like
Yep.
resort sponsored activities.
Yep.
So you can in a lot of cases get share privileges. So like if you're at Sandals Negril, you
Mhm.
could pop over to Beaches Negril if you want to
Which is
like
worth it.
play in
It's
the
great.
water park
Mhm.
like the one day, why not? But there are lots of excursions even off-site. And
Yes.
Sandals works with it's called Island Routes, and we can work with that.
Mhm.
We can get you pre-scheduled. And you would want to pre-schedule depending on what you want to do. Do you want to go out on the ocean? Do you want to go do some fishing? Do you want to
Right.
go to Rick's Cafe, which is a very, very popular? I had clients who
Mhm.
just did that from from Beaches
Right.
Negril.
Right.
Yeah, there's a couple of Rick's Cafes around the island, and that's just a very um popular option, right?
Right.
So, and
Right.
do you want to, depending on where you are, do you want to make the trek and go over to Dunn's River and like
Mhm.
climb the waterfalls? There are waterfalls in multiple locations, by the way, where
Yes.
you can
Mhm.
climb and maybe like jump off, and not always jump off. You have to check about
Right. Right. Of course.
Yeah. I would say up near Ochi, there's oh my gosh, I'm gonna butcher it. Is it
Mhm.
Blue Hole? Starting to get confused. I think it's Blue
Mhm.
Hole. But like some natural man-made lagoons. But there is
Mhm.
plenty. Honestly, I could go to a Sandals for a week in Jamaica and be totally occupied the entire time.
Yes.
Between the
Yep.
spa services,
Mhm.
between the on-site activities and water
Mhm.
sports, the amazing dining, the share privileges, and then, also like maybe doing a couple of off-site excursions.
Right.
And keep in
Right.
mind, on a 7-day trip, like your first day, you don't want to say it's a wash, but it's a travel day. Like you're
Right.
not, you
Right.
can't
Mhm.
count that, and you can't count your last day because that's when you
Mhm.
leave. So,
Right.
but they
Let's
do
and
have
let's
a getting ready area though that
Yes, they do.
which is
Let's
nice.
talk about that last day because I think Club
Yes.
Mobay comes to again for somebody
Oh, yes.
who'd never experienced Club Mobay, and I know you have. For
Mhm.
me, it was a little different because this is me going into it for the first
Right.
time, doing here. And I'm trying to experience this obviously, and the transfers they recommend that you get to the airport 5 hours ahead of time.
Well,
It's an
they
hour and a
pick you
half.
up 5
Yeah,
hours
they
ahead
pick
of
you up and
time. Yeah.
they give you a time and they tell you have your luggage
Mhm.
outside of your room. They'll load your luggage
Yep.
for you, which is great. They confirm your luggage. Hey, is this yours? Making sure before they put it on the shuttle, they make sure that you get yours
Yep.
off the shuttle to make sure that
Yep.
you always have an idea of where your luggage is, which was
Mhm.
really nice. There was really no chance of losing any of that,
No.
which was great.
Mm-mm.
Hour and a half back to the airport, and they get you off. You go into the airport. Jamaica Airport it's small,
It
and there's a
is.
lot of people there,
Yes.
and at the gates are very small as well. So I got to my gate because again, I'm one of those people. I got to know where my gate is just in case it moved. In Birmingham's airport, just in case they moved gate
I mean,
74.
why
I got to
not?
see it. I was here 2 weeks ago, but just in case, just whatever. I got to see it. But I had to know where this gate was because
Mhm.
I'm like, I want to make sure I don't know where it is. I go through, and I had to I'm pre-checked, but I still
Mhm.
had to take my shoes off. Had to take my laptop out because it's a different
Because
country.
a different country, right?
A
So
different
your
country.
pre-check
So
doesn't count. Yeah.
I got all that. But Club Mobay, you go straight through one very short line for customs
Yep.
versus a big log of switchback. You kind of do your thing.
Mhm.
And you go in and there's a lounge that you would go to. Now I found my gate.
There
My gate
is.
was already full of people. People are sitting along the hallways,
Yep.
along the edges there because there's nowhere to go. And I'm like, I got
Mhm.
2.5 hours before my flight. So I want to go to this lounge. So you go up some stairs for the lounge. They take your luggage from you. They check it away. You go upstairs and there's a whole buffet of food. There's a full
Yes.
bar. There's water. There's chairs. There's a very clean bathroom. There's just like everything. There's Wi-Fi.
It's Wi-Fi.
I sat down. I had some lunch real quick. I think I had some chicken nuggets and some fries, something easy. I sat down in one of the really comfy chairs, did some
Yep.
work, and it was peaceful. It was quiet and just
Yeah.
it was relaxing. It really was. About
Mhm.
45 minutes later, I went downstairs and got on my flight and was out. It was fantastic. So Club
Yeah.
Mobay for me it was $35 at that time,
Mhm.
and it'd be 35 per person. Worth every penny.
It is well
I would have
worth
paid
it.
double that. I would have paid double.
And I will say this, like
Mhm.
you got it pretty last minute. Honestly, I kind of got it last minute.
Yep.
That can be an anomaly. You would like to buy that service
Yes.
once you decide you're going to Jamaica
Mhm.
because it can fill up.
Mhm.
So just be aware of that. And they do have a couple of different ones. They have like a family section. They have,
Mhm.
and a lot of it will depend on like your flights. Like I think they keep it organized by flight. Like, okay,
Right.
Southwest is going to go to this particular one because there's
Yep.
various rooms.
Well, and they have two. They have two
And
for
they do
these
have
one
two.
for this gate and one for that gate, basically.
Exactly. One for
And
like,
I think I
yeah,
could have
'cause
gone
of
to
different
either,
hallways.
but yeah,
You
it was
can,
easy. Yeah.
because I went to the one that I thought was by my gate because my
Mhm.
gate was okay, let's say it was like gate 13. I don't remember what it was, but I'm like, oh, this one's across from gate 12. I'll just go to this one. Then they changed my gate to gate 7. So like, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Right. So I would say with Sandals overall, I mean, yes, it can be a little pricey based on what you're doing. It's not your traditional, just, pay a hotel room on the beach, whatever. I mean, but it's very manageable. It's very easy. It's not something that's so far off the radar. Like there's no way the value exactly.
The value
included,
is
your tips are
there.
included. Your transfers included.
Yes.
For most package transfers are included. All of that is included. So really, literally, I spent over 2 days. I spent $70. Club Mobay, and I bought a hat for the days I was there. For like 4 days I was there. I spent more in 2 hours at Disney World than I did 4 days in Jamaica. Just crazy.
Right. And it's not like, okay, so if you've maybe been to an all-inclusive in, and I'm not throwing shade on any other all-inclusives. I love other all-inclusives, right? Yes. Like there are certain ones I'm a fan of, but just objectively, I have not always had fantastic food at all of them. Yes. Like I've been like, I mean, I could eat it. I truly enjoyed every meal I had at Sandals. So there's something to be said for that. It is very,
one thing I noticed too with the food, and this is kind of our last point here, is that of course gluten-free Cherie, we call her that for a reason. She has some food allergies. Nearly every time we sat down, the server would come up and say, "Does anybody have food allergies?" They would ask her right off the bat, and they would make her. And even one time, they brought something to the table that she thought was okay. And as she started to take a bite, the server rushed over. No. That is not the gluten-free. I'm making the gluten-free. I'm so sorry. That's not gluten-free. And Cherie's like, "Oh, okay." So it's fine. But I mean, like immediately caught it. Like, no, don't eat that. Don't eat. That's not for you.
Yeah. Well, Cherie had heard her say like, "Oh, and here's the gluten-free," and she's like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, it's very similar." And then she's like, "No, I'm bringing the gluten-free." So like, but like she was watching and so attentive. That was wonderful.
Yes. They were asking about food allergies every time, which is really awesome. And also, and I guess I should mention this too. And this is going to be a longer discussion later, but they have an incredible autism program, and that is something that I look for everywhere I go, looking through a parental eyes of an autistic dad. Yeah. What would my kid like this? And my wife, who doesn't like the beach all that much, would she like this? She would love Negril, and she would love South Coast, by the way. South
Coast is my jam right there.
Oh my gosh. South Coast was incredible.
Once I make it to Dunn's River, that'll also be my jam. But I just
going to beaches, they have a great autism program for the children. They're autism certified, and the lady that was talking to us was very proud of just rattling off the certification. We have this, and they have to be CPR certified. They have to have this certification. They have to have that certification. Just whatever.
Yep.
And of course, my child is 12, so he is slightly out of the window of the autistic program they have there.
Yes.
I forget the name of it, but the program they have. But they also have something which is very rare. I've seen in all-inclusives and on cruises. It's a buddy system, basically. It does cost a little bit per hour, so you do have to work that out. But basically, they have a buddy that will be with that person, and that is for all ages. So if you're, say you're with your 33-year-old brother who needs some attention and can't be left alone for a long time for various reasons, you can get a buddy, and that buddy will walk around and be with that person to make sure they don't wander off, they don't get into trouble or whatever. And take a couple hours during the day, to really just kind of relax and just not have that person around you. And when, not if, but when Steph and I go to Sandals, and if we go to beaches, we take Campbell,
right?
We're going to utilize that a couple hours a day.
Absolutely.
Because it'll be great for us to not have the kid for a couple hours, which will be,
you can go have like a nice, like romantic dinner or something. And, like something that maybe he wouldn't really be a fan of.
And this is not to throw shade on, like you said, with all-inclusives, not to throw shade on any cruises or anything that talks about autism programs. This is the best autism program I've seen so far.
I mean, they're certified nannies. Like they make them go through a lot of training. And then they have private sitting services as well. So if it's an off hour, because there's 1 hour a day where like the staff all gets a break and then it closes at 9 p.m. But if you need additional reservations, they do have like for us, and I would say a very reasonable fee.
Right. And these are all things that we as travel advisors would love to help you out with.
Absolutely.
Get you your Sandals or all-inclusives or Royal Caribbean or Disney's or whatever.
Or wherever.
That's who we are. Pick us. We're happy to help. So Jen, you're going to Dominica.
Dominican. We are going to the Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic tomorrow for a couple of days as part of your whirlwind tour of everything coming up in the next several months. Where can we follow you in all your adventures?
I will be at Upon a Star Jen, and my personal Instagram is at Jen_Novotny.
Going to be awesome. It's going to be great. I'm going to love following along. Of course, follow Quadside producer Heather at the Moana Mom and all her Disney World adventures and all her traveling adventures, as well as our good friend Kyla, our somewhat third co-host. You can find her at Disney Geek 27. Find me at the Magic on a Dollar on Instagram, and of course on Facebook, Magic on a Dollar and Disney on a Dollar. And of course, Upon a Star Travel on all the places on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, and all those kind of places. And find us everywhere, uponastartravel.com. And of course, find the show at the mscpodcast.com or gmail.com and all those places. You'll hear Katrina tell you all the news at the end of the show. So,
yes,
Jen, delightful. Hope to be able to talk to you in the next few days as you're down in Dominican, doing your thing, and then coming back, and then leaving like 3 hours later to wherever you're going to go.
Right,
because that's what you're doing
on my birthday trip.
So.
Woo!
Perfect. So for Jen, I'm Dave, and don't forget to thank your Phoenicians.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or visit our website at themsepodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.